let's get this video absolutely started. I go by the name Black Pegasus.
And it's your boy, Don Wannabe. We are back in the house, in the studio once again.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast, where we try to prioritize commentary and going over different things, you know, that we see popping off. This one, if you want to bring up the video, is about the sun dimming experiment. This is what it's titled. Me and Don actually covered this on the music reaction channel, the Black Pegasus Raps, way back, so you won't be able to find it now, but this concept where Bill Gates basically was insinuating he wanted to dim the sun to help, you know, balance out the this concept of climate change. And to your point, I would consider myself an environmentalist, even though I don't subscribe to everything they're talking about with this whole net zero, the climate stuff, because there's so many different debates. The narrative being pushed and highlighted is that humans are a huge part of creating climate change, or, you know, exacerbating certain things, and this is why it's going to be more severe. But there's also an argument about the sun. There's arguments about the climate just naturally changing. I mean, there was a ice age, there was a this age, there was that, you know. So there's all these different arguments, and people just, right now, it's just unfortunate that people are so caught in the mix of being like, I'm right and you're wrong, when like science is really the opposite of that too. So it's like we got to find that middle point. But the fact to go as far as a dimming the sun experiment, like he's going to get into this. I only watched like 30 seconds of it, but I was like, this is valuable for me and you to watch together, because it's just,
I mean, literally it affects the entire planet. So like, I think it would be good that we knew about this and knew what they're planning to do, because this is something that will literally affect everybody on the entire planet.
Again, this is being spearheaded in the UK. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to be putting out fake news, but everything I saw and read was it's being spearheaded. The UK government has approved this type of experimental thing happening. If I'm being real,
even when you say that, though, it's like, I mean, I just have to do it. I have to put my tinfoil hat on. I mean, this is not a UK government thing. It's just they are the ones who are bending over the most for the globalists. That's what it is. It's like Australia, Canada, the UK are the ones. This is not coming from the UK.
America's trying to, too. I don't want to, like, yes. I used to be like, yo, America, baby. But the more I see things going down the pipelines, I'm like, yo, like, we're like walking the line, like we're right in line to get our heads chopped off.
Yeah, it just, you know, it just depends on how, you know, this election goes or that election goes. I mean, we could be right there with, like, you know, but they are far ahead in the speech laws, because it's all, you can't separate these things out. You can't take the one thing and just pretend like it's living by itself, because it's part of, you know, one agenda, and that agenda includes climate change. It includes immigration. It includes, you know, all of these different things that they're trying to wrap up. And, you know, it's the anti-speech. I was about to say free speech, but it's basically, you know, compelled speech, locking people up for Facebook posts. This is all part of the exact same agenda, which at the end of the day is just take away your rights, all of our rights. So, you know,
I'm just tripping that we've gotten to the point. So the furthest extreme I think you can go to is saying a man is a woman and a woman is a man, and saying, hey, I think we need to block out the sun. I think, though, that's just like, go say that to a person and be like, hey, I'm a human being.
But I'm the good guy. Hey, I am a good guy. I'm on the team good.
We're going to block the sun. Men are women and women are men, and we're going to block the sun.
Yes. And if you disagree with me, you're going to jail. And I'm the good guy.
And hell. You're going to hell, because that's not Christ consciousness. So it's very interesting. Play the clip.
Well, we've just learned that the United Kingdom is about to start experiments in solar radiation management. And this gives rise to some concerns. And the first one is consent. I didn't give consent for this, and I suspect you didn't give consent for this. And if you're living in the United States or Canada or Australia, you certainly didn't give consent for this. And I haven't been informed. So we don't have the informed consent that we would like. Now, the thing about this so-called solar radiation management is it dims the amount of sunlight that gets to the Earth. It's reducing the amount of incident solar radiation. And of course, all our food depends on incident solar radiation from the sun. So here we have the potential to reduce the amount of food that's produced to control agriculture. The obvious question is, who will be in control? No one's approached me to take control. Has anyone approached you to take control? What great elites, what betters, what senior intellects will be in control of this, allowing the amount of sunlight that us plebs on the earth get? Will produce less vitamin D, of course, as well. But we can take tablets for that. But the main thing is the food. If you can control food production, make no mistake, you control everything. If someone's hungry, they'll do anything for food. So we don't want elites controlling our amount of sunlight and therefore the amount of food that we have. And sunlight's necessary for all food chains, plants and the animals and absolutely everything. And of course, it's necessary for photosynthesis. Now, am I getting something wrong here? So we're going to reduce the amount of sunlight that comes to the earth. That reduces the amount of photosynthesis. Now, what photosynthesis is, it takes water and carbon dioxide. It takes energy from the sun. It combines that into sugars, and it also gives us oxygen. So I used to teach my students the equation: 6 molecules of H2O plus 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus the energy from the sun gives C6H12O6, which is a simple sugar molecule, plus 6 molecules of oxygen. Now, I thought we were being told that there was too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but photosynthesis is that which takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So am I missing something here? And I also kind of like to breathe oxygen occasionally as well, because that's produced by photosynthesis. So why would we want to be reducing photosynthesis? Less photosynthesis, more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The antithesis.
So think about this real quick. You know, what I've realized as I've gotten older is, you know, there's these unique things and parallels happening, and I don't know the answer to this one thing I'm about to present. This sounds totally wrong, totally crazy, in the name of man, human being trying to play God, trying to outwit nature. You know, when essentially we have these people who are doing these protests, you know, they're trying to spray paint the Mona Lisa in the name of, you know, protesting climate change. But then you would think, as an environmentalist, you would protest blocking the sun. One of the biggest features, one of God's greatest gifts to us on this planet, having sunlight, right? Because we're in this ecosystem and habitat, and we interact with nature, the trees, the plants, the animals, the sunlight, the air, the water, the dirt. We literally are interwoven into this ecosystem, and they're saying, hey, we're going to take this part of the ecosystem away without asking anyone. And in my opinion, this is technically like a war crime, because, like, if I was another country like China, India, Russia, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're changing the whole planet now. That's literally, like, when you're talking about this globalist thing, this is literally a global conversation, and everybody has to agree or it's a no-go.
Yeah. I mean, to me, to me, this is pure evil. That's what it is. There's no other way to put it. It is the epitome of evil. That's what it is at its very core. Like, if somebody were to put this in a novel or a book, you would almost be like, yo, this is too ridiculous. Like, isn't this the plot of the Terminator? That literally was it the Terminator or the Matrix? The Matrix, that the robots were powered by the sun, and so we nuked the whole planet to kill the robots, and that's when they turned us into batteries.
I don't remember.
It was to block out the sun. That's what we did to, like, try to defeat the robots, is that we set off bombs.
I'll look it up.
So when you think about that, it's like, this is the plot from a sci-fi movie. And you brought up God, right? Here's the thing, man. I think about this, like, I was walking my dog the other day, and it was like overcast and it was cold. I had my hoodie on and we're walking on. It's super brisk. And it was very early, so that it was like sunrise, right? The sun's just coming up. And the minute the sun hit me, it was like it changed everything. I just felt that warmth, and it was beaming down on my face. And I always, like, walk without my headphones in, and I was just, like, smelling the cool air, and I'm there with my dog, and she's so happy. And it just hit me, and I was like, dude, I understand why people used to worship the sun back in the day. Now, you know, I get it. Because you feel that life-giving energy, and, like, I'm not, you know, living in a hut with a little fire trying to keep warm. Like I came out of my nice apartment with my nice clothes on, my gear. And as soon as that sun hit me, you feel the difference. Like go across the planet. Every culture at some point incorporated sun worship. The Aztecs, the Egyptians. What happened when the Egyptian kings got so big that they started believing that they were gods? This is the epitome of human ego, right? The ultimate expression of a human being getting too full of themselves, having too much glory, too much love for their self, too much ego, is believing that they are a god. And then once they reach that point, they think they're the fucking sun god. Now you have some people in our day and age that are saying, no. We are going to go against all of that. Even the sun god, we are going to block out the sun. Literally like the thing that human beings have worshipped since day one. And you're going to tell me that these people are good people?
They literally want to bring us into a dark period.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Literally
want to bring in a dark age. They literally want to control it's demonic. That's the only thing.
You're right. It was the Matrix.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this has to be just, I feel like I'm just getting kicked in the D. Like, because, like, it's just, it absolutely, the fact that we're even in a place, this is the place I wake up raising my children and can't believe one day I have to have an explanation that, like, and I'm going to obviously go against the narrative, not probably will. A man is a woman and a woman is a man, and we need to block the sun. Just the concept that, hey, I have to explain one day to my kids, like, yeah, at one time people thought it would be a bright idea to block the sun. It's wild. It's a wild world. Let's see, because he's dropping gems.
Yes.
Like, we're on more of like a philosophical, how do we feel? What do we see as the common man?
But he's right.
His whole photosynthesis breakdown is like, oh, this is great. I mean, I'm a common man and know this is idiotic. But, you're actually giving me a couple of jewels to,
But what he's talking about is like, consent. Nobody was, asked if we were okay with this. And he's absolutely right. You have people that are making decisions for the whole planet that nobody got to vote on. So
well, just think about this real quick. Where does all the power lie? Because I started thinking about this the other day. The power really lies within judges' hands. A lot of power in America and the UK, it relies in judges' hands. And when you have certain demographics going to school more, they're becoming the judges, and you're seeing these certain things come down.
It's weird when you start like thinking about this on a spiritual.
What has the true power?
Well, when you start thinking about it on a spiritual level, right? It's like what is this? It's words that are encoded into law. So it's like these spells that are casted. So the judges and the lawyers are literally casting these spells that this is the agreed upon structure of society, that it's written in code, and they're casting the spell. And then a judge comes along and is like, oh, okay, yep. Because of these spells, you don't have the right.
What's interesting too is we know how important a judge is because Judgment Day is coming for all of us. So it's like, it's just really interesting to see. But we'll play the rest of the clip, and then we kind of ride off into the sunset.
What we're told we want, and yet we're going to be reducing the amount of solar radiation coming to the surface of the Earth. Now, at the moment, this is a £50 million project. Doesn't sound too small to me. And it's probably being done already, but this is an official £50 million project that they're being forced to admit to at the moment. What are the risks here? Well, changes in the weather. The world, Asia, Africa, depends on the monsoon. It has to be the seasonal monsoon to produce the world's food supply. The risk of that being disrupted is immense. We could be talking about famine on a Herculean massive scale here, a biblical scale. And then there can be local effects. Maybe one area is going to be affected and another area is not going to be affected. And that can give rise to regional tensions. One group raiding another area for food. There's all sorts of nasty implications potentially here. If there's regional effects in the way that the radiation from the sun gets to the earth and generates agriculture. And we're kind of treating the symptoms here, really, rather than treating the underlying problems. We need to consider the way that we interact with our natural environment. The ecosystem is an amazing place. We've got plants and animals, of course. wonderful, but we've also got in the background, you can see from me now, there's 10 to the 22 types of virus. Not viruses, 10 to the 22 types. Bacteria, fungi. It's all in an integrated web with complexity beyond our imagination. And I was a chartered biologist for a while. I have studied this. And it's just beyond our imagination to know how this complicated system works, but it does. And human interference could be really a bad idea. So it's not really what we want. So they're the problems, some of the risks. Let's proceed with great caution on this one, shall we? Please, United Kingdom government. And if you're in a government from another part, if you're in a jurisdiction in another part of the world, I think you can probably share our concerns. I'm going to give you more details on this shortly, but that's just a quick overview. And of course, if we want to get rid of carbon, we could plant some more of these amazing created structures, these trees. Why don't we plant more of those if we're so worried about carbon dioxide? But for now, elites don't interfere with our ecosystem. I don't give informed consent, and don't mess with things you don't understand, because no matter how clever you are, I don't really believe you do understand ecosystems. They are very complicated, delicate, and must be respected.
All right, I want to end it for me, what I'm about to say. I'm going to end it on this note for me. One, he's sitting in an amazing environment.
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, where the hell is he?
Yeah, I think he's from the UK. He's a good dude, man. He really switched it up during the pandemic. It's funny. I watched him at the beginning being pro something and then actually damn near apologize because he learned the facts. He was just doing statistics online as it was happening. And
yeah, I remember you sending me clips, and it was cool to watch somebody in real time that was analyzing data that had a certain perspective, and then in real time allow information, to be able to, make a more informed decision.
Sure.
So it was cool because I watched it, like I said, you sent me a bunch of clips because I didn't know who he was, and you got to see somebody in real time working through actual information to form an opinion.
So my ending remark would be this. I've said this before on this channel, on all my channels, that I believe humans are the original technology and everything else is just a copy of that, from AI to computers, everything. They're trying to emulate what we already do as humans. However, saying the original technology, we're also connected into the earth, a part of this interwoven complex ecosystem. And we're a functioning organism together. Like it's like this pulse, and everything works together. And because we haven't focused on tapping into nature and all these other things, we haven't risen to our true potential, which AI might reach the true potential of a human first, because we haven't taken the time to look at things. As I end that little rant, this is the ending point. They're trying to treat the sun like a gallbladder. In conventional medicine, your gallbladder starts acting up. They're like, hey, just cut it out. You'll be fine. But you're not fine. You're what is it? The gall stuff. What is it called? The gall stuff. The bile just drips. So your gallbladder's like a faucet regulating anything. When it's gone, the bile just drips, and it does create problematic. You can't eat fried foods anymore, etc. But my wife went to the hospital, and I told her they tried to just make her do a gall, like, hey, we're taking out your gallbladder. I got to the hospital like, no, you fucking ain't. We gonna sleep on this. And I started asking them all, how extreme is this? What are the possibilities of this happening to her if she doesn't do it today? You know what we did? A gallbladder cleanse. She ain't never had an issue again, my guy. So that's just one small example of they treat symptoms, just like he said. They want to cut out the gallbladder instead of addressing, okay, why are there gallstones? Why is this? Why is that? The same with, like, let's say a prostate cancer. Anyways, I don't want to be giving out medical advice because YouTube's weird about that. But if it's not super advanced stages, there are things that we know of that could potentially, be adherent to that. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to give medical misinformation advice. But I'm just saying the way our conventional systems work is just cut everything out instead of try to find the root cause. And that is why we don't have any cures for chronic disease in the world. And the only thing we've really, really embarked upon that was the groundbreaker was antibiotics, right? Because it's a legit cure for certain things. But other than that, and they're treating our planet, our ecosystem, just like the body, and they're trying to treat the symptom instead of going to the root cause of all this and make the proper adjustments. Or also just let things run their course of time. They're so scared of like actually being a part of history. Like, yo, this happened, that happened. It's like, hey, man, the earth is its own organ. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like organs, but you can go, because that's kind of my finishing thought. They're treating the sun like a gallbladder, and we're the original technology that they're trying to recreate, and we're connected to this ecosystem. So you guys got to think a little deeper than that.
To me, it's like, if we're going to use your medical analogy, basically it's like saying, hey, we're going to do, an experiment on a patient, with no anesthesia, and we're just going to go in and just start cutting stuff out and see what happens.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, what does this do? We don't know. Let's just cut it out. Because I've been like, you can roast me or whatever you want. I do roofing. I follow hailstorms. So part of understanding what, brings about hailstorms is understanding like, how does hail get formed? We live in one of the hail capitals of the world. Like, it's actually fairly rare to get massive hail. And that's because of the ocean, basically temperature variations between the ocean and the air, right? That causes the channels of water to flow in a certain direction. It causes the clouds and the rain to go through our farmland. So all of this is based off of the climate and based off of temperature variations, right? Mm-hmm. So you start changing any one of those things and you don't know how it's going to affect other things. So like, you could literally change the flow of the ocean, mm-hmm. which means all the fish in it, all the populations that migrate and navigate. When you start changing those currents, it changes all that. It could literally disrupt like massive populations of the ecosystem. And then if you bring that into the cloud and the difference with temperatures and the way that, airflows go, like El Nino and all that stuff, that means it could literally change weather patterns that you don't know. All of a sudden, the farmlands that we've traditionally fed the world off of could suddenly be devastated. And then lands that, aren't like necessarily geared up for farming, all of a sudden start getting heavy rain. Yeah. So it's like you're changing these, like you're just pulling levers. That's what they're doing. They're just like, oh, what does this button do? What? They're just hitting buttons. You know what I mean? And we have no idea what the consequences are. So that's why like my final thing is like, hey, like I said, man, to me, when I see this, like you can call it science, you can call it whatever you want. To me, anybody who has an ego big enough to think that they know what's best for the entire planet, that's evil. That's an evil human being. That's an evil way of thought, to think that you have the right or the power to be able to change the environment for everybody on it.
Yeah. If you want to bring up the logo, we can go. I said that was my last piece, and it is. But
this is a crazy topic. It's like,
but as you said it, I was like, this is just so random, and I just don't let this cause a wormhole right now. We'll talk about it in another video.
Okay, I'll just shut up.
But what you're saying is that also, like, how much power does the UK have? Like, me and you, as much as I want to be America #1, me and you speak English, and I know where that derives from. And I'm thinking about, like, this is kind of odd that they're leading the charge to block the sun. They're leading the charge, and I'm like, how much power do they really have?
It's
like,
funny because I was gonna leave this out, but I'm like, there's the ultra conspiracy theorists that are like, oh, the royals are reptilians, and I'm like, bro, when I hear this, I'm like, they might be right, because that's some reptilian shit. But even a reptilian, they need the sun. Think about that. Not even a reptilian would think this is a good idea. No. They're like, no, I love basking in the sun.
I've seen all the lizards in Hawaii.
Exactly.
Anyways, all right, man. Let's
Lizard
go.
people stay mad.
What's the button? Hold on. Is this the button?
I don't know. I hit something.
Them all off.
I think your daughter was playing with them yesterday.
Why ain't it playing? That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, just turn the damn video off, man.
All right, peace. We're out.
We're out. Damn.
40.